Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I am Pat with Brandon and our all-star Jared Golding here on the Automate Your Success podcast. We are the Ecom Pros, brought to you by B Legend Investments, and we run Amazon automation stores for real people. And Jared is one of our real people. Jared, thanks for joining us today.
Absolutely. I'm happy to be here, man.
Appreciate it. Appreciate it. So why don't we kick right into it? Brandon is our super data all-star, and he's been running Jared's store here and automating it, giving him the done for you results. And what are those results looking like for you, Jared? Are you happy with the service?
Man, yes, I couldn't be more happy with it. So my store, my store went live March 2nd of this year. Time of this recording it's December 2021. And March is when my store went live. And, at first I had heard, and Brandon had told me, hey, you've got to, we're going to scale it. And there's certain things that we've got to do to make sure that your store's successful long term. And, at first you jump into it. It's something new. I guess a little bit of my background. I own a couple of different businesses. And my time is a little bit limited. And so, when I first started looking into this, I thought, man, this is something that I need to do, but it's totally not a traditional thing. So I looked at it, and I guess in my mind, the best way I could make sense of it was, I own I own investment property. And with that, I have a property manager. So, it's my property, but I don't really do much with it. And this store's kind of the same way. Brandon and his team, they take care of it. And at first, for me, that was it was I want to be hands-on. I'm the kind of guy, I see an email or a notification comes in, and I want my product to be the best. I want to jump on and handle it. But Brandon and his team have been more than satisfactory with jumping on, and man, they've killed it. My store has, like I said, you've got to kind of scale, but to date, my store is just shy of $500,000 in sales. In the last 30 days, about 150,000 in sales. And really, the only thing I do is I get paid every 2 weeks, and I pay my cards off. And Brandon and his team just kill it, man. They've totally brought my store to life, and really, I owe a lot of my store success wholly to those guys. So
That's
that's kind of
amazing.
my
That's
experience so
amazing.
far.
That's so awesome to hear, man. And it's so awesome me being a part of something like this, because it's changed my life too, just being around these two guys and meeting the network that they're associated with. I've built so many incredible connections in my life too. And so, Brandon, why don't we break down some of the data that he was talking about, if you have some
Sure.
of those numbers, so that people can kind of see a deep dive into what that looks like on his store.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me on here, Pat. Yeah, his store, it's hitting some really good numbers lately. He's brought up some really good points. If you were listening, he said he did about $500,000 in sales since March, I believe. And, in the last 30 days, he's sold $138,000 worth of product. So what that tells you is a large amount of those sales have kind of happened recently, right? These stores, we try and tell everybody they don't start out making $100,000 a month in sales. It takes a little bit of time. So in the beginning, we're kind of laying that foundation for this long-term success like he's finally seeing now. And he brought up a couple great points about, this business being great for him because it's so hands-off, because he does have other businesses, other ventures that take up a lot of his time. And this business isn't really designed to, at least in the short term, replace those businesses, but be more of another stream of income, right? The more streams of income you can have, the better. So if you have a side hustle like this or a side, additional stream of income, that can even generate you just a few $1,000s a month. I mean, that's pretty invaluable.
Well, and I love that you mentioned that too, because, Jared, as you know, being a real estate investor, we deal with a lot of real estate investors. In fact, we kind of laughed about it before the show. I host a lot of real estate events myself as an MC, but, and you can testify to this, is that when you buy an investment property, sometimes you're getting $350 a month, $550 a month, with the expense load and the cash flow load. What is the difference that you're seeing between this as an investment compared to real estate? How could you break that down for people? Both great investments, just different. What does it look like to you being able to kind of, like you said, have a property manager in e-commerce, just like you do in real estate?
Yeah, no, it's I look at real estate. Sometimes it's a great long-term investment, but in the short term, right now real estate across the nation is doing great. But there's certainly times where there's ups and downs, and it ebbs and flows. With this, with my Amazon store, man, I guess the time where it was a short-term investment, or where it wasn't super profitable, has passed. That's the first couple of months. You've got to show that you can follow the rules, and show that you're going to be a good store, I guess, in general, for Amazon. But this is, in my opinion, a quicker, long-term investment, a quicker and cash flows more money than right now than any real estate investment I've got. So I'm already seeing the returns coming in on it, and to me, it's a no-brainer. I don't know why anyone wouldn't do this.
That's amazing. That's amazing. So from your end, being our data scientist here, Brandon, when you stack these up against each other, again, both great investments, you're diversifying, you're creating long-term wealth and stability. What does it look like as far as percentage wise and risk factor when it comes to Amazon combined with real estate or versus real estate? Because we deal with a lot of people that own tons of different businesses, and this is just one of them. But what we're noticing is what he described, which is a higher return, and you're getting your money back quicker. Whereas with real estate, we're seeing like turnover, we're seeing, rents and all these kinds of different things. If the roof caves in, what does this look like?
Yeah, absolutely. You brought up some great points there. This is pretty similar to real estate. In terms of percentages and returns, typically our goal is to, about this time where stores at sea, anywhere from 12 to 15 to 18% profit monthly. I think his store is a little bit on the lower end of that because he's just kind of getting to that point now. So I think he's around that 10, 12% profit margin, which is still great. So if he can cash flow 3, 4, 5, 6 grand a month, I mean, there's not a lot of real estate investments where you can see that kind of cash flow to begin with. And just like real estate, real estate is a great, very safe investment haven. But at the same time, if you have a bunch of rentals, you can have a hot water heater break. You can have people that don't pay rent, so even that isn't always risk-free. Just like these Amazon stores, it's a real business. So real business issues are going to happen. Sometimes things are going to arrive late, or, you might get a bad run of customers, and things like that can affect your store metrics, which can cause a slowdown in sales. You could get suspended for some of these things, but, at the end of the day, are you just going to give up because, there's a little hiccup along the way? The point is, long-term, these stores are successful. And if you're doing things the right way, it's just as good, if not better, than real estate. I personally think it's better because, like he said, it's less work on his part, and it cash flows quite a bit more money per month per store.
Well, and the initial investment is lower. In certain instances. I mean, there's a lot of these no money down situations in real estate. Right. We all know that. But at the same time, when it comes to cash flow, you put no money down. How much are you really making on the monthly end. And so to kind of close it out, Jared, we know you got 10 million other businesses to run, but I did want to give you an opportunity to just kind of give some people some insight as to, what your day-to-day looks like and your week-to-week looks like. How much time do you need to put in, and how much is Brandon's system really just plain automated for you?
Sure. Really, I guess my day-to-day, I look at the seller app quite a bit, just because I'm interested, just because I'm curious about it. You totally don't have to look at that. I just want to see how many sales my store's had, and it's exciting to watch. But as far as running it and the must-dos, like I get paid every other Monday. Amazon sends me a direct deposit, and then I pay off my credit cards. I see that there's communication going on between Brandon and his team and the customers of my store. I can see that there's communication back and forth because I get email notifications every time something has sold. Anytime anyone has a return or an inquiry, I can see every time someone has any issue at all. I can see that, but I don't have to address that. So really, the time that I have to devote to this, I mean, generously 30 minutes a week, maybe. Maybe 30 minutes a week.
That's amazing.
And
that's amazing.
And that's probably because I'm a little bit more of the OCD, got to look and check everything. I totally trust Brandon and his team though. And so really, I think the average person, you're maybe 15 minutes a week, maybe.
Right.
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
that's beautiful. And that's what we communicate to people, is that, it's a real business. So it needs to be treated as such. But when you have someone that automates the process for you, that's why we call the program the Automate Your Success program. That's why we call it the Automate Your Success podcast, because we want to automate as much of this as possible so that it is your business, but you're partnering with a team that you can rely on to handle all that stuff in the background so that you can be successful in the Amazon space. And so, man, Jared, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on. And where can people find you online, brother? Yeah, absolutely. Hey, where can the people find you?
I have an Instagram page, and it's Jared G Mortgage or JT Golding 2. Either one you can find me or look me up, and I'll post some stuff on there too.
Awesome. Appreciate it, man. Thank you so much, man. Thank you, Brandon, for your time. As always, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening. Thank you for watching, and we will see you on the next one.